he cleaned it up later on tonight, but he says, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which is suddenly seems so relevant. Now, I think we kind of criticized that at a time. We both said,
yeah,
you put the most important part at the end of the tweet, not the beginning. It's not like he totally said, "What about the game?" But he should have. He's a writer, so
well,
like,
there was a tweet before that though, from what I understand, that I think some people missed. At least that's what he said. But it's a bad take, man. It's a bad take. It's a bad take. It's not in good taste.
It was a poorly written tweet. I would say
he acts too quick sometimes because he wants, he's just so quick to say whatever, which can be good and bad. But I think he almost subconsciously wants this kind of attention. He wants people talking about him subconsciously, and he's just always like, I'm just gonna say what I want. I got a show. I'll apologize. People like me. They don't, they hate me. It's all good, and that's what I feel about it. So,
well, you're already getting a little ahead of me in terms of the situation, but yeah, I think he's not the only one. They all do this. They want really quick takes because people are on social media. They're looking for personalities with opinions. He does it. He has built a brand on this. Him and Stephen A, I think, have made themselves multi-millionaires doing this, right? Like, I don't know if he's the highest paid person in Fox Sports, but I know Stephen A. Smith is the highest paid personality. He's the highest paid employee of ESPN.
Yeah. And rightfully so, in my opinion.
I agree.
He pushes the needle. Works hard. He pushes the needle, so that makes sense for me,
Yeah. So he said that tweet. The next episode of Undisputed, Shannon Sharpe is not even in this. He's not even there. He runs the show by himself, which was very weird. Yes. I didn't watch a lot of it. Again, I don't watch a lot of it, even when Shannon is on there. It's just too much shtick. But then today, Shannon comes back, and he kind of starts with a monologue. But you know what? I'm not even going to.
You gotta play it. Yeah, let's play
I'm gonna play it right now. It's about a minute and change right now.
Good to see you, Shannon. I understand you have something you want to share this morning.
Good morning. Yes.
Good morning.
There's been a lot of speculation of why I wasn't on air yesterday, and I won't get into speculation or conjecture, innuendo, but I will say this. In watching that game on Monday night, what happened to Damar Hamlin struck me a little different. As a brotherhood in the NFL, when injuries happen, when we know injuries are a part of the game, I've seen guys suffer ACLs and Achilles tear, but I've never seen anybody have to be revived and fight for their life on the field. So it struck me a little differently because I remember seeing my brother paralyzed on the field temporarily, and he was able to regain focus. Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me finish.
All right, okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead, let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me. Well, you could have came back, Skip.
Well, I thought,
Skip, just let me.
I didn't know you were going to bring up
No,
this.
I was just going to say, Skip, I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where Damar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the bosses wanted you to offer explanation. So clearly, somebody.
No, they did not have. Nobody.
Let's go, Jen.
Thoughts and prayers remain with Damar Hamlin.
That's where the focus should have been, and not on the football game. Yes, let's go, Jen. Thank you.
Dude, it's like watching a married couple, and they're like at the end of the marriage, and they're like fighting. They're so disconnected.
You can tell they're not talking.
You can. Well, I'm sorry. You can tell they're not talking off camera. Like they do this show, like it's live, which takes some guts to do. But it's cringy. Skip Bayless, all you got to do is say, I'm sorry, Shannon. Please finish. And shut the up. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got to do. But he can't get out of his way. And he looks like he hasn't slept in 3 days, which he probably hasn't. Like, it's just bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's just a bad look. And just apologize and don't have to defend yourself. Just come out and say less and just be like, I thought and acted too quickly with my tweet. I apologize. prayers for and then shut up and say nothing else. But he keeps talking, and when people like try to over explain, it's because they have a guilty conscience, I think.
I have a different opinion on this. That looked fake. That looked like a pig. That looked like a shtick, because they do shtick all the time on that show. They have these big blow up arguments, and it just seems ridiculous. So you're telling me this guy was going to start a monologue, didn't have a conversation? They didn't have a conversation about the tweet. They didn't say, "Hey, I'm going to talk about this." When me and you, we do this little rinky-dink show, right? I just hit you with, "I'm going to talk about something that Pedro did," and I think Pedro, like, without having a conversation.
No. But we're friends, though. I don't think they're not. They're more colleagues, and they're more. You know what I'm saying? So I can see them not really talking a lot in the last couple of days. I think that that's just my opinion, but I also can see what you're saying. I like to hear the rest of your thoughts on the stick stuff.
I think it's at least a professional sense. Okay, you're not friends. You didn't show up for the show, Shannon. Skip, someone should have called each other. "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? How should we approach the show?" Yeah. They and Skip talked about this in podcast a long time ago when he started his little podcast by himself. Mm-hmm. He says that a producer calls them both with topics. So what happened to the producer? The producer didn't mention that Shannon was going to say something. I'm sorry, this is a multi-billion-dollar business here with Fox Sports. No one says what they say without any approval from higher ups.
So you think that they said we're gonna really liven this show up. I'm gonna interrupt you, Shannon, and not let you finish and go. You think that? I don't. But I mean, if you're right about that, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if these guys are Shannon's very animated. Skip is I don't know what word I'd use for him that's good for the show. I think he's kind of foolish and clownish to me. Provocative. That's a better word. Thank you. He's the Maury Povich, Jerry Springer type and Shannon's kind of like, I don't know, he's just like Geraldo Rivera kind of, like just in your face and kind of like, says some, but I like Shannon more than Skip, maybe because he's an ex-player and he can speak from a place of experience when he's talking sports, whereas Skip, it's like, he dogs these guys and he never, played professionally. So
I know, and I'm looking at some of the comments. No one is really agreeing with me, which is fine. Cliff Dog thinks Shannon would do that. Nova Dasher, what's up? My favorite Commanders fan. He said, "I don't think Shannon will go with that, but
not for this topic. I don't think he would for this. But I think Shannon is not above doing what Hannibal is saying. But for this particular topic, considering what happened, I don't think he would do that. Yeah,
something just seems weird with this.
Yeah,
it just seems weird. They do have these big blow up arguments. I mean, Shannon Sharpe saying how LeBron's the greatest all time just weirds me out because he's a man that's older than both of us. Who is over the age of 40 thinks that LeBron James is the greatest basketball player? So like I feel like they have, and then they go back and forth with that. So I feel a lot of that is manufactured. Maybe not this, and no matter Gigmog, it's a show.
Good point. Good point. That's a fantastic. It's entertainment, and they want those clicks and views. They want the viewership. They want because there's sponsorship dollars that come with that based on ratings and how much people watch and what segments, and that's why they're following the hot topics. That's why they're going to talk about LeBron, even if LeBron's not playing or the Lakers suck, because that's what pushes the needle. They're going to talk. They'll bring race and politics in, which a lot of people that watch the sports don't like that because they just want to enter the sports stuff. But that's what pushes the needle, and I think you're onto something with that as far as, they're doing it for, it could be made up. It's a show. I mean, I get that part.
And maybe I'm not, all right, maybe they're not necessarily saying, well, hey, we're going to do a bit like it's WWE.
Yeah.
But someone's setting something up here. Where's the producers are at? There's supposed to be a producer making sure all this is set up properly. Now, if they were going to talk about this, like Skip said, I thought you were not going to talk about this. So where's the disconnection that Shannon decided to go over the whole monologue about how he thinks he should take down a tweet? Why he didn't talk to Skip before this show? It's a big deal. It's a very popular show. It just seems something is just off with me.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. Something is clearly off. Anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like that's obvious. It's off. Something's off. But for me, I think there's been a disconnect. There's been rumblings. Like you hear certain things, you never know, Skip went at Shannon about his playing career multiple times, this, that. He's kind of been, someone would say, disrespectful, and Shannon would kind of fire back and whatever. But I think this was kind of like the thing that Shannon was like, do I want to align myself with this guy? Like, come on, you're going to do a tweet like that? You know what? I'm going to leave you by yourself. I'm going to make a statement. I'm not coming on the show the next day. I'm not going to give you that. You're going to have to face it alone, right? Yeah. And then Shannon comes back because, you got to come back, got to work, right? He's got obligations. He's got a contract. But I think it's just these guys are disconnected, man. I think they're, we see it. It happened with Stephen A. and Skip. Skip got Stephen A. that show on First Take. And then it blew up. Stephen A. was better than Skip, at being who he is. That the character's just better, right? So ESPN had to pick one. They picked Stephen A. Clearly, that's worked for them, right? Could have went the other way, but it hasn't. And then Max Kellerman and Stephen A. had a great show. Max Kellerman was a really good 1-2 punch with Stephen A. They separated, and now Stephen A. has different people coming on. So we see this. We see that, you got guys like this. They got prides. They got egos. We talk a lot about that on this podcast. These guys are no different. They, they come in. Skip's got his Michael Jordans on. He's got a little chain. He's like, look at me. I'm cool. I'm young. I'm hip. Nah, you're not. You're old. You're opinionated. And you got a show, and you've done great for yourself. But you're not who you think you are. You know what I'm saying? And both of these guys are, even Shannon's got a little bit of that in him too. But Shannon's that guy, though. Also, he's a Hall of Fame football player. So I just think they're disconnected, and I think it showed today. I think,
Shannon Sharpe has definitely got better as an entertainer, because when he first started, he wasn't at the level he is now. And then you can say that Skip helped him do that, because they had the show together for so many years. And maybe Shannon's like, I don't need you anymore. Like, I don't need this. But be honest, I think they still need each other to make a show where you can't have two guys agreeing with each other all the time. There have to be some kind of back and forth, because two guys agreeing with each other is not interesting. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I don't know how long the contracts are. I know. Can Shannon handle a show by himself? I don't know.
He probably not.
Skip probably can. Skip can probably, because
he's more controversial, and people like that kind of stuff. And I think some people realize, hey, I'll just play it up. I'll say things that people don't like, and and that will eventually, it'll burn you at some point. And maybe it hasn't burned him all the way yet, as far as Skip goes. But I don't think Shannon could do it by himself. Not to this degree with that many people watching, but I could be wrong.
He needs someone else to work off of, because a lot of the best segments are him yelling Skip, because Skip says something ridiculous. And if no one else is going to do that, and if they do that, they'd be copying Skip. This is what I would love to happen. Either to keep the show, or Skip leaves Fox Sports, go back to ESPN, go back to First Take with Stephen A. I would watch that.
Oh, that would be a ratings bonanza. But I don't think their egos would allow it. I really don't. I don't think
they say they call each other. They say they're brothers. All that kind of.
But who knows? I mean, that would be good TV, right? But also then we're just getting more people just yelling and screaming at each other, right? And more of the, you know what I'm saying? But you would just have the two more popular guys that do it on the same screen, which a lot of people would like. But
I'll probably get bored of it as well. But
I don't watch. I used to watch First Take more. I don't watch it anymore, only because I just don't watch TV like I used to. But I used to watch it a lot. I like, like JJ Redick when he's been on there. It's been really good.
He's pretty good,
I really like Jalen Rose. Love Jalen Rose. Like, even the younger, a couple of years ago, Jalen Rose was the best version. Like, love his takes, and he's super smart. And when he was a ball player, like, great ball player, Michigan, went to Indiana and all that. I didn't think of him. I always thought he was kind of just like a street dude, like real, like just like always funny, blah, 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 like whatever. He's always kind of a jokester. But the dude is like super smart, and
he got better. Really, you can tell when they help and they do better in their craft, because they've been doing one thing for 10, 12, 20 years, and you go into media, it's a whole different thing. You have to show more of your personality. You have to be not afraid to criticize players, and I think that's what's great about Shannon. He is not afraid to criticize other NFL players, and I would say for the most part, his takes are good. His NBA takes are all over the place. I'm not, I'm not he's an NFL guy. I like his NFL stuff. When he goes to NBA, sometimes Like that LeBron thing just burns me up a little bit.
He got like he'll wear like the little goat mask, and he's got the like he goes over the top.
He's entertaining, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I agree, Noah Dasher. Shannon's podcast is really good. Like I was talking about, I think I talked about on Monday. His interview with Deion Sanders was funny because Shannon. Okay, so they were showing, like Deion had 2 toes amputated, and he's at the seat. There's a scene they're talking, and you see a trainer kind of massaging his foot, keeping the blood pumping through the foot. And he's talking about his feet, and Shannon says, "So you stay 8 toes down, right?"
I think I saw that clip somewhere. I haven't seen a lot of his podcasts, but I saw that somewhere.
Deion's like, "You really gonna be clowning my phone?" But they have a great relationship, and I think he does really good. Another good episode I liked when he was talking to Steve Smith, wide receiver.
Yeah,
you keep it real, and they can't really say anything that Shannon didn't go through. I mean, Shannon Sharpe was one of the greatest tight ends, passing or catching tight ends ever.
Oh, for sure. So he was putting up big numbers before it was kind of popular. Now you have several guys in the league over the last few years that have been putting up like wide receiver type numbers. Gronk and Kelsey and all these other guys, Andrews. But like he was the guy doing it.
He was the dude.
Yeah, and he had 3 Super Bowl rings, 2 with Denver, I think, and I think 1 with Baltimore. So he's accomplished, and he's a big dude. So he just, kind of your size can garner you respect as well. You walking in a room and you're Shannon Sharpe, you're a Hall of Famer, you got 3 Super Bowl rings. You're, kind of a loud guy, but you're got a lot of good energy, like
positive energy,
like
a lot of
there's a lot of respect that just automatically kind of comes with all those things we just said, So I think that's why a lot of people like him.
Yeah, Cliff says Skip loves controversy, and that's what he lives for. He's like high school female that loves to have attention. It's been profitable. He's been made a lot of money doing this. It started from
I would challenge most of us. Would we stop doing that if it's making you money? I think most of us would continue to do it if we see it's working, right? So you can't hate him for that. I mean,
it started from before it turned to First Take. It was called Cold Pizza, which I never understood the name of that.
Oh, I do remember that was ESPN though, right? Cold Pizza. Yeah, I do remember.
It was Skip, and then it was another writer named Woody Page. And that's when they started the whole.
Yes.
You remember that? Yeah.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens. I watch clips of the show on YouTube. I do not watch the show in its entirety.
Yeah, me too.
If you care about Lakers and Dallas Cowboys, go watch it because that's the only 2 things they talk about.
Yep. But I watch the clips on YouTube because it's just quicker. You don't have to sit through commercial. You just watch a 5 to 10 minute segment, and it's just better that way. So.